don't want to move up to a corporate ladder? You mean I gotta drink this coffee hot? Wait a second. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 141. It is the first day of the week, aka the Vulcan Raven workout. I'm on my way to the gym right now. It's a little bit later than I wanted to go, but hey, things get in the way, life gets in the way. Just gonna get as much as I can get in. Hopefully it's not as packed, but it's Monday, so it will be packed. Anyways, besides that, feeling good on the way. So, the main subject matter at hand, as you've seen in the thumbnail and or title. The reason why this subject matter has come up, a job is a job, is because over the weekend I talked to a few people, hung out with them, and just saw some people I haven't seen in a while, so I was able to update them on my new job, which was nice. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this now. And then they were like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to get into that field. Where do you want to go up from there? And then I was like, no, not really. The job is just a job right now, and I don't feel like going any further pursuing legal stuff because it is a law office job. But so I was like, no, not really. And it was just like, I feel like not necessarily that they were taken aback, but more so just like, oh, okay. And I guess I wanted to discuss this entire phenomena because I guess it's a little bit more, I'm guilty of doing what they've done as well. That's the other, I think that's the main thing. And I think that sometimes it is nice to remember a job is just a job. I feel like a lot of people try to correlate the job plus career plus like dream job slash whatever your passion is. Like there's like a weird culmination between the three. And this kind of goes with my other video that I made the other day about, you know, reassessing what I want to do with my life and things like that. Like I said in probably that video, and I'll say it again here, this job is just a job. It's just a means to an end. That's all this is. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like more people should be, I guess, not necessarily aware of it, but it's just like, oh yeah, a job can just be a job. I don't want to get into too much detail here because I really want to get into it in the voiceover because then I can mull it over and think about it a little bit more. But really it is interesting that all of those things are kind of intertwined. Realistically, most people end up in places that they don't really care, but it pays the bills, so it is what it is. I don't think a lot of people are passionate about clothing sales. They're not passionate about human resources or sales room assistants or selling things. They might like it, they might tolerate it, they might like it enough because they get enough money from it, but loving these types of things is just so... It seems like such a foreign concept to me in the sense that in order to get to a place where your job is like something that you can be like actually passionate about, it's like it stems usually from a hobby or something along those lines. Now there are certain people that will get into certain fields that are into the field itself, who are actually like all about it. But I feel like that is not necessarily few and far between nowadays. I think now it would be relatively obvious if you are going to go into something, whether or not you like it or not. So, for example, if you are a theater person and you go into like theater production, even on like the surface level of it, you know what I mean? Like that's a passion job, you know, there you could work your way up. But if you are a theater person and you're like working at Starbucks, a job's a job, you know, so it's not necessarily a one-to-one carryover. And even then, there are some places where you become good enough at your job, or let's say you become good enough at your passion to be paid, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you actually enjoy the work that you're doing per se, and or the work is just completely different than and disconnected from the things that you make. So for example, I was thinking of like something like, I think my brother could probably talk about this a little bit, but studio musicians, they're very good at what they do and playing things that are made for them, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is something that they like to do it, but they're paid to do it, and it's not their own passionate things that they're being paid for, if that makes any sense. They may be a creative soul, but still they're just good enough to get paid to do something, to work a service that is useful and nice because, you know, you get to do what you like, but it's not necessarily for you, so it makes it a little different. It's like if I got paid to do training it's cool, but like it's like as if I got like somebody else's program and I had to do that. Like, yeah, I'm still training, but I don't like that I'm doing somebody else's program that's not mine. You know what I mean? Like, it's the passion is the entirety of it, not just like, here you go, do this. Not to say there's anything wrong with it at all. You can do other people's programs. It's all fine. That's also the half of the battle that I'm talking about here, is that you can do this. A job can be a job. A boss can be just a boss. You know what I mean? So that is something there as well. But we'll probably get into more detail on the inside.
Alright, so started this day off with dips. They were fine most of the time. They are usually fine. I've kind of hit a brick wall on them, but 50-50, it all just depends. That is neither here nor there, because we are going to be talking about when a job is just a job. Right before this, I was mentioning about the fact that I would be less passionate about working out if I was doing somebody else's workout, and I think that I would like to elaborate on that a little bit more, and that is that if it's your personal project or your personal thing, I feel like it is easier to be passionate about said thing. So that is why something along the lines of a program that somebody else created, I would feel less passionate about doing. I would still make gains or strength gains or anything like that, really, if I were to follow somebody else's programming, but it wouldn't be my programming, thus I wouldn't feel as committed to it as I would if it was my own creation. But that goes and isn't just in the lifting realm, but also in the creative / job realm. I feel like most people would say they care more about a personal business that they started versus a business in which they were hired by, the mom and pop shop versus the giant conglomerate. It's that entire idea. And the reason why I say this is because sometimes you kind of have to work for the giant conglomerate, so then that way it can fuel your mom and pop dreams. Now, I mentioned this in the previous video actually, because for some reason jobs was just on the mind for a while there, I guess because I was just new and stuff to this one, but it was something that was interesting to me, that what kept happening and was kind of important. And for me personally, when it comes to this job, now that I've been there for almost 2 months now, I believe, or 2 months, it is just a job to me. It is just something that it is a thing to do, and there's nothing more to that. But also at the same time, I'm glad I have it. It's great. I don't think I'll ever get into any other situational thing, aka I'm not going to go into like the field that it is technically about. I'm not going to go into that too much more than I'm already am, but that's fine. I feel like most people aren't okay with that, and I feel like it is a reassessment of what you're doing. Now, obviously, there are people that are stuck in dead-end jobs that aren't really doing anything, or are forced to work in places that they don't want to work. Now, obviously, that's a little bit of a different situation, obviously. I feel like you have to reassess and make sure that you're not stuck in that, or if you do feel like you are, maybe reassess and figure out what you can do to get out of it, obviously, or just see what you can do to move on or move up, so that way pay can be different if pay is an issue or whatever is an issue. But sometimes just being at a place, doing the grind and doing the process of working, not that bad. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's pretty all right. It just depends on the level of job that you get and if you like it. I mean, you can have a low level job, but if you like it, you're good. You know, like there's no point in leaving it or just trying to move on to something that you might end up hating. Sure, the pay might be shit, but if you like it and you enjoy what you're doing, then just stay there. You can have your job and let it just be a job, and that's all right. I think that's cool. I mean, if people have it, if you have a trade that you practice or anything like that, that's cool too. I feel like people need to reassess what the job is, and then reassess what they would want as a career, or just passion job, or just a passionate career, and just kind of separate the two, because one can fuel the other. Some people will do both. There is a possibility of having both be happening simultaneously. So don't feel like you have to do one thing. You can do multiple things.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, Also none. Surprisingly, got everything in. Everything managed to get free at the right time. Going a little bit later ended up working in my favor. It was still massively packed beyond belief, but still I managed to get something out of nothing, so there was that. And by out of nothing I mean I got something out of this workout, so I am very excited and happy about that. Hit a few PRs, stay stagnant on a couple things. Actually hit a lot of PRs, actually all of it, so it is what it is. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. The reason why I wanted to talk about this was because, one, this came up a little bit this week, so I was like, all right, let me discuss this because it is an interesting subject nonetheless. But two, it is something that I feel like people kind of forget. All of these things are kind of intertwined together, and it makes sense why they're intertwined together. You want to pursue a career in something that you're passionate about, and it makes sense. You know, we've been told that in school and all that other stuff, and realistically that's what you want to do at the end of the day, right? So then that way your job doesn't feel like a job, and it feels like more of a like, hey, this is just the thing I happen to do and I happen to love it. But I feel like nowadays you can go about it either way, really. You can just get a job to get a job, and then thus you can also go into something where you want to make a career out of it. You know, your job could be your career, and then you just do other stuff on the side. There are people who are 9 to 5 people during the day, and then at night they do random shit that is like insane that you would have never thought. Susan does this, Betty does that, Jim does this, David does that. You never really think about those types of things that they do that you don't even know about. Office lawyer by day, DJ by night. Like, it all just depends on what you like to do, and if that passion can let you get out of the job market and into whatever you're passionate about as a way to make money and stuff. I mean, that's really how it works. I feel like we get kind of told that you want to be passionate about your job and all this other stuff, and it makes sense. I'm not going to disregard that, obviously, but I feel like sometimes a job is just a job. It's going to suck. The grind sucks. Nobody likes the grind, but it's doable, and if people can do it, and you know, if you like it and it's not too, you know, taxing on you mentally, because some people do get taxed on it, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. If you don't mind it, you just keep riding the wave until you get to the end, retire, and then chill out and do whatever the hell you want to do with those 8 hours. Now become very big, you know what I mean? Like, that becomes the rest of your day, so you choose it the way you want to live it. Or if you get lucky enough, you can choose to do that way earlier, so then that way you don't have to worry about that shit. So it is what it is. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this entire video. I am very curious to hear your thoughts on just a job being a job and just sticking around to it, not necessarily being passionate about what you're working for or working towards, you know. Not necessarily everything has to be a passion project per se. So I'm just curious to hear your thoughts and opinions about this. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay safe. Keep it heavy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.